Now, Daddy's job was to build the railroad only ran 23 miles, but that was fine. to build the right of way, to lay the track, and to sort of keep things in line. And if there was a wreck, his job was to repair it. So Daddy was this kind of heroic figure in the community, particularly because this was really a white man's job. And the Ku Klux Klan took exception to the fact that a big old black man was doing it. And on several occasions, they let him know that the end had come. If he wasn't out of town by sunset, he would be dead. Well, Daddy always managed not to get out of town by sunset. Mama was a pretty thing. She could sew, and she always looked neat, and she could also cook, and she was sort of the pride of the family. And I remember my first experience of her as a personality. Daddy had taken us to another small town to build another small railroad for another man. And the Ku Klux Klan didn't like that one either. So one morning, I was about 4 or 5, I suppose. I ran out of the house, which was a shanty where we lived in, and was playing in the yard. And there was a stake. A stake had been driven into the ground. Mm-hmm. It had a split at the top, and in the split was a folded piece of paper. Well, I'm a smart boy. I can read. I opened the paper, and there was writing on it, and there was a picture on it, a pistol with bullets coming out of it into a red heart from which dripped red blood down into a black coffin. I said, ooh, this.
How did your family deal with that?
Well, I went inside and I took it to Mama. She understood what it was right away. Now,
she was literate?
Yeah.
Yes.
But just barely. But the railroad track that Daddy was building was running right in front of the shanty where we lived. So Mama, there was 2 of us then, Mama put on a pretty blouse or something, called a neighbor to take care of us, took the letter and Daddy's big pistol and put it in her bosom, got in the middle of the railroad track, and went on down the road to carry my daddy the pistol and the message. So that was my first memory of Mama. But already you could see that my life was going to be full of epics.
Yes.
And I was a little boy watching the whole thing unfold. My daddy, a hero. And I'm watching and watching. And he worked with a gang of men, some of them ex-convicts or whatever, who were good men. So when Mama got the pistol and the letter to him, they all responded in the following fashion. They finished their day's work, but then the men came home to our house, and they built a fire in the yard, and they sat and sort of stood guard all night. There was a big wash pot, so I think we had about a half a cow, and Mama cooked a big stew in the wash pot that night, So, and the guys sat around drinking and talking. Daddy went inside and went to bed, but they let me stay up. And I was a little big-eyed boy running from man to man and listening to the stories and wondering what was going to happen. The Ku Klux Klan never came, but it gave me a big moment. But Daddy and Mama, in essence, all through my life, sort of had that quality for me. They were bigger than life, and they were involved in epic confrontations with racism, with mean white folks, and sometimes mean black folks, and sometimes they barely got out of it, by the length of their tail. But some miraculous black thing always happened, and they would get out, and the children would be there cheering.